Welcome to Film is Real.
Where we film real and film reels us. I am JT.
And I'm Colten.
And I'm Zach.
And today we're going to be talking about this film we made. It's called Blinded, and we're going to be doing a live commentary to where we watch through the film and we talk about, as filmmakers, what we did and all the stuff that we had to go through to get all of this stuff done.
Yeah, we're really excited for you guys to check out the film. This entire commentary for the film will be released once the film is out. So right after the film, you can watch this commentary. You can tune into it on the podcast, listen to the podcast while you watch the film, or just watch this entire
Just do
commentary.
everything at the same
Everything at the same time. Yeah, we're really excited. This project has been a long time in the making, and there's a lot of passion and a lot of stuff that went into this project that we want to talk about with you guys. And kind of give you guys a little background for what we each did for the project. Colten, wrote and directed the project. Zach was the director of photography for the project, and JT was the assistant director for the project.
I did so many things.
And production manager.
Yeah, production manager, assistant director.
I mean, I did sound
design.
Engineering. I did. We did
everything.
So much.
We did all of it.
This project's our brainchild. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it has so much.
All right, so let's get right into it.
Yeah,
let's watch
Right.
this.
Also, for any of you on Spotify, this episode will also be on YouTube, so you can watch along with it. So we'll have the film right here or there or somewhere, and you can watch along with us, or you could just listen to us in our magical voices. So, all right, we're gonna hit play in the film now.
Colten made this?
I wouldn't know.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I wrote this, didn't I?
Yeah. So let's pause it right now.
Yeah,
First pause. So
First pause.
I think this was the first scene I wrote. Obviously, it's the first scene, but a lot of the times when you come up with a project, sometimes you'll come up with, maybe some random scene. Maybe you'll come up with the ending. Maybe you'll come up with one scene in the middle. Rarely do you really ever come up with literally the opening scene. And ironically, for a horror film, I was like, yeah, I really want a girl playing a ukulele to a really sweet song, which is odd, And I remember I was like, I really wanted the opening to be a huge juxtaposition, which you'll see here shortly, to the rest of the film. And JT here wrote the song.
Yeah, literally the first song I've ever written in my life.
Yeah.
Sat down with you, jabbed some stuff down, and I think what you told me was like, I want it to be sweet, but like also kind of, again, like a juxtaposition kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I tried to make it like sweet and wholesome, but like also like kind of mysterious a little bit in the lyrics. But
Yeah.
I think it turned out well. I liked what we came up with.
Yeah. No, I'm so happy with it. It's just such an endearing song to the film, because you don't really get a lot of moments in the film with the characters, living a normal life. So to start out the film with something to immediately connect you to them was really important. Yeah, I really love this opening shot.
It ended up really good after coloring too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll never forget. I mean, because this was shot on,
The same day.
well, no, what we shot this on Saturday, right? Of the shooting
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
Saturday morning when
So
we shot the.
we had 2 previous days of hell. And then the morning we shot this was like the most surreal thing in the world. So yeah, let's pause it real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. I think it's a really interesting. So yeah, you guys get a little idea of the juxtaposition here, as it slowly sets up kind of what the story's going to be, what you're getting into. There's little nuances there that I really want. I think this is probably my favorite scene, because again, with a lot of the stories that as I continue writing more and more stories, I want to try and find nuances in the fact that like we're tackling a genre, but that genre isn't just like, if we're doing a horror film, it isn't just straight up like jump scares horror. I want to still have endearing moments. I still want the characters to be very lovable and people you can follow and care about, and there to be moments that are humorous even at times, So that was kind of what this moment, to me, I wanted to capture. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I feel like this was like an experiment for us, really, because like as young filmmakers, we can't really like pick and choose when we can make a film and when we can't. It's kind of just like when the cards and stars align, we can get some money together and get some people together and do something. So it's like every time we do something, it's us kind of going, okay, what have we not done yet, and what can we figure out how to do that'll help us in the future. And this time we decided on some horror stuff.
Yeah. I think so far out of every film we've made, I'm the most satisfied with how we introduced the film, at least.
Oh,
in
for
this
sure.
opening scene, like we really set a tone here that I don't think we've ever really done before. We usually just jump into things. Where here we actually had some time. I mean, this is our longest film yet. We had time to kind of set things up a little bit.
No, for sure.
Oh, the cursed music.
Yeah, I was gonna say music choice.
It's every time we do a film with like some kind of like random background song, it gets ingrained into your mind.
I know.
Focus was the worst. We had that bar scene.
I think I've listened to the song over 1,000 times.
This scene will be nothing but rain sounds for me.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. So like the biggest issue with editing the scene, at least the sound, was we didn't really dub over most of the lyrics. So like it was basically just trying to make both of the cuts of like each person sound somewhat close enough.
Well, it was also the fact of like in jazz. So we shot these obviously in like different points in time, and it was actually raining outside. So whenever we shot Katie's, it was raining like way less hard than it was in Jaskar's voice and shots. So literally I had to like put in a bunch of extra rain sounds and car sounds to try to like mellow that difference out, because otherwise it was like Jaskar's talking and you hear like a shh, and if Katie was talking it was like silent, and that was difficult. You could probably still hear it a little bit if you try.
This definitely was a tough scene to shoot too. I'm happy the overall came out, but like there's a lot actually on the cutting room floor here, because in this there's one shot where we stuck the camera to like the side of the window.
Yeah.
And I had to run outside in the rain along the car, and Katie couldn't help but laugh because I'm literally just jogging around with the car trying to catch up.
There's this sound.
Yeah.
That was a pain.
That was so
honestly
difficult.
none of us thought that we could have
let's pause
we
it.
could have made that sound.
No, yeah.
Because we listened to that first time, we're like, how is that? It looked like the edit was bad. Like somehow it still has come back together, but
because
we
we definitely, when we were putting this whole thing together, we did not love the shot of the car hitting something, like the angle that we got. It just was not good for what we needed it for.
No, and
but,
also what was it? So that whole thing we were shooting. So there was 4 people in the car. It was Colten, it was Stefan, our sound guy, and then the 2 actors. And they were just driving up and down this road in the middle of the forest, while the rest of us were in like our little car tent that we have made. And just like there was like the 5 cars just sitting in this parking lot like for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
While we waited for this, because like we just couldn't do anything.
There was
pouring
kind
rain.
of no other way to do
and
it.
no cell service.
it was so far out that we couldn't have just like had different call times. Like we had to bring everybody out there.
Yep. There's no ways people would find their way out there.
No,
That'd be
exactly.
horrible.
Anybody would find their way out there.
Yeah. No, honestly, thank God no one got sick on here. Like this is actually pretty important thing to mention about the film, is like we were in the middle of COVID.
This was shot in November of 2020.
Yeah. So everyone, wearing masks, sanitization, and trying to maintain the social distancing as much as possible. And
Yeah, because we had like a total of like 20-ish people.
20-ish people.
Yeah, not always on
Not
set at
always,
the same
yeah.
time. It
Yeah.
was usually, I think, like an average of like 12 to 15
Yeah, you're
on
probably
set
right.
at a time.
But having to enforce the masks and like
Yeah.
the
It was
don't
tough.
eat inside and things like that. That was definitely an interesting experience.
It was tough, and I think it was a good experience to it was the first time really having to set, regulations on a set for us,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
having to manage that. And, thank God, miracle be said, that no one got sick, not a single person.
Nope.
So very, very happy to see that. But one thing I want to mention about the scene is, it's probably honestly my least favorite part, because I wish we did get a different angle of, the hitting, because I don't think the hitting really,
It didn't sell completely.
It didn't sell completely. But there is a little detail added here that I hope people start to notice later on is there is an actual creature sound of the bird being hit, which is something that I actually kind of wanted to allude to throughout the film, and we'll kind of talk about that more later on. But you'll start hearing those sounds as they come up.
This isn't going to be in the final cut of the film, but this was an interesting shot because you could see,
Colten in the mirror.
In the earlier versions, there's in the mirror you could see Colten clear as day, holding the camera. Yeah, this whole I just remember this was towards the end of the night, and Colten was starting to get into his rabid mode. Yeah, he just starts like, all right, screw it, we're going for it, and just is laying on the ground. He like just sprawled out with the camera again. Like,
God, we were holding the light behind the car.
Yeah, me and JT.
Hold on, let's just pause it for a second to talk about this.
Me and JT were literally like, so there, like we were all like the whole crew was there, but like me and JT were basically standing behind the car with this giant China ball light that we had, and like it was just. Oh, and he had the diffuser. So we had a diffuser and the China ball light.
Pouring rain.
And
our China ball light is like made of like this super thin like paper material. And me and Zach. So I mean, God bless our crew. Like we were not like the only ones suffering. Like they were all out there like dying with us in the cold, freezing rain.
Kudos to the entire crew on this film. By the way, they should have all quit. Like, I'm gonna be honest. They should have all quit.
That was the first day, and it was the most brutal day out in the rain, middle of the woods.
No, the most brutal day was the 5 a.m. trek.
Yeah, but that wasn't.
We'll talk about that,
but that was only like a couple people, right? So like this was like everyone. The first day with every single person. It was pouring rain in the middle of nowhere, no cell service. Honestly, no one was really prepared for the rain.
Yeah,
at least half of the people weren't. It was
rough.
It was rough, but somehow we got through it.
No, but me and Zach literally, it got to a point where our sweat, we took off our long sleeves to cover the China ball. So me and Zach are jacketless in like 30 to 40 degree weather in the rain.
And then I almost got hypothermia. We basically went into his car and we're just like, we were
literally
heat.
like, I think we swapped out with Skylar and Miles for like 2 or 3 shots because we literally like couldn't feel our arms at all.
That was insane.
And so we ran into the car and cooked ourselves like an oven for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, we couldn't feel anything for the
This was the worst. The worst part was like literally in my perspective, it's like because I knew we had this day. Like this scene had to be done.
Back and do reshoots.
Couldn't go back, couldn't do reshoots. That just wasn't gonna be possible. And like meanwhile, these two don't have any sweatshirts on. They're getting hypothermia. The crew's like staying out in the middle of the rain. I'm like, shit.
Troopers, dude.
We gotta go. Like, we have to get out of here.
Something to communicate for sure to the people out there that don't do this stuff. Like, again, as I said earlier, we can't like exactly do this stuff all the time because we rent equipment. Like we pay a buttload of money to do 4 or 5 days of shooting.
Yep.
And then we can then start taking our time on the post-production because that doesn't cost us anything. But being on set like costs us money for quite literally every second we're out there. So we had 4 days.
I'm sure my electric bill is hating me right now.
Oh God!
I'm currently rendering one of the versions of the film.
Honestly, we never really talked about it, but this was probably our most expensive project in reality.
Yeah, I mean, what did this end up costing us?
Over $2,000.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate for what I
but
remember.
luckily enough, really most of that money went towards production. Like it went towards
we had done the most
costumes
props,
and props.
Yeah, lots
and
of props,
like set pieces and all those things.
Yeah.
We barely spent any money on equipment this time.
Well, that's because we found some big old deals.
That was from us. Yeah, we had our contacts. So the executive producer of this film is what's his name? Sorry,
it's Nuke.
Nuke, yeah. So Nuke, he reached out to us and was like, yeah, basically he offered to lend us his equipment. And it was like, while we were currently trying to find budget out our equipment budget with like the rental place that we use. And he basically came in with almost like, he basically cut our budget for equipment in half with the equipment that he gave us.
Man came in for the fucking save.
He really it just gave us more room to make more makeup stuff and do more. Yeah, there was so much
budgeting makeup was like interesting.
It was
Yeah.
tough because we knew going to this that there was going to be so.
Also, this is the best film makeup we've ever done. In a film.
Yeah, I mean, we
by
had
far,
we had
and it
makeup,
really
we had
shows.
prosthetics, we had all these different things. And I think we had actual costumes. You know, we had to purchase.
I think we
so-
should talk about that when we actually get to see.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
when we
but
actually
really
start
quick, I just
looking
want
at
to
them.
say like much love to Nuke and thank you like Empower Video Productions. Like that's their
Yeah,
production
yeah.
company.
Big, awesome.
Go check them out on YouTube. Just search up Empower Video Productions. They have amazing short films, amazing
And
stuff.
They
Like
will be in the credits of the
Yep.
film. So
go check them out. Seriously, much love to those guys. They're awesome. So
All right, yeah. Let's.
this was always the roughest point for me watching
Yeah.
the film.
No, this part was tough.
this
to
scene was
edit.
actually very different in the first
yeah.
cut, and because it just played out. There was no cutting to black here. It was just the entire thing plays out, and it like felt
just
so
didn't work.
slow. It just didn't work.
So this was what we came up with to actually sort of fix that, and
Yeah.
I think it worked okay.
Yeah, I think
still,
it was,
still not perfect.
this sound. I'm proud.
These are his children. The
Yeah.
sounds,
Yeah, all
like
these sounds are
big
my
sound
children,
designs.
dude.
The more I watch the scene, the more I do like it. It's crazy though because this scene was filmed at probably the worst part of the entire shoot. Yeah. This was brutal. This was the most brutal. We'll kind of get into it in a second.
Oh,
Yeah. There's Nico.
Laying on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nico, let's point out every time Nico
I was
is in
gonna
this
say, take a
film.
shot every time you see Nico.
Oh my god.
What did we bloody up? I remember I bloodied that thing.
That was
was-
like a bed sheet or
It was-
something.
yeah,
Oh
some
yeah,
random bed sheet.
I remember I went outside and I literally beat it against the ground and like covered it in a bunch of fake blood.
Oh, and the goo.
The goo.
Goo.
Talk about that in a
Jaskar
second.
ate the goo.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, it's a miracle this scene really turned out.
Somehow.
I mean, how fast did it take us to shoot? Like an hour?
About
or
an
two?
hour. About an hour. And there's a lot of footage here actually that we shot.
Yeah, we did. We didn't use all of it.
Yeah, no. It's pretty crazy though. I think it works okay because like
Yeah, I think if we had more time, we definitely could have lit it better.
yeah, definitely could have lit it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk
We're
about
gonna
what the
talk
hell
about
happened
that.
there.
Yeah.
So,
Dear Lord.
Yeah, you guys can tell the
So this was we had 4 days of filming. We filmed. Did we film Thursday? No, Friday was the first day of filming.
Thursday was the first day. of
Thursday?
filming.
It was Thursday.
Okay,
Thursday,
so
Friday,
Thursday
Saturday.
was the first day of filming, and Thursday night was like that beginning shot of like them in the car. Saturday was a bunch of different. Oh no, Friday was a bunch of different stuff. Saturday was probably the most full day. And on the night of Saturday, so this is like the third day of like 16-hour film days practically.
Yeah.
It is like 3 in the morning or something, and we finish the second to last shot of a scene that we needed to do, and we had one more scene left to do, and it was 3 in the morning, and if we didn't do that scene, we had no idea if we would have enough time on Sunday to finish everything we needed to finish. And again, we were renting, so we were kind of on a limited time schedule, so it was literally the lowest, most difficult point of the whole shoot. Like Zach got to a point where like he like it was, oh man, like I don't know if you want to elaborate
so
that.
Basically, before we shot that scene, we were shooting the scene in the bedroom. So like in the so while Katie like was basically looking at Jaskar, he's on the ground, she's crying. Like that whole scene took us probably like an hour to shoot. Like
I think it was more than that.
It took a
It was
long
a
time.
while.
Honestly, so
It,
from upstairs to the end of upstairs was 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it took a long time. And so basically we started noticing Katie was starting to get to like the brink of I think what she was
Sanity.
able to do. And so Colten was basically taking lead on just getting the film recorded and getting it filmed. I went to JT who was downstairs and I was like, okay, we have to
made out a
plan.
we needed to make a list of all the things we needed to bring out to the forest.
Yeah, no, basically we were like, okay, we basically gamed out every scenario and tried to figure out, can we do this tomorrow? Nope. Can we do, like, it was, we had to, like, we just sat there and, like, gamed out everything. And then I kept going up to Colten after, like, 30-minute intervals and was like, all right, here's our current plan. This is what's going to happen.
It honestly saved my life.
And eventually, like, it got to the point where, like, JT had left to go do something. I forget what. And, like, I was basically I was like extremely stressed at that point
Well,
because
we were all
like
sleep deprived.
yeah,
too.
we were all sleep deprived. It was one of the later days, and like I was just kind of like sleep deprived and stressed out of my mind because I'm sitting here worrying about basically the whole crew and like, okay, all these people are still here, because I think the night before I was panicking inducing because Kai's dad and like that whole thing with Kai.
Oh, gosh,
we'll
yeah.
get to that in a second, but like he basically had to run out that the night before, and that was like a whole experience. But like during this one, I was like, okay, got to figure this out, and I'm like not able to really talk with anyone, so I'm just kind of sitting there, and I just sort of had a breakdown, and then Colten was like, all right, we're doing this next thing, and I just could not mentally drive myself at that point anymore, and at a certain point, he was just it was basically right as you guys were about to go out, he went and looked for me, and he basically came out to me and was like, Zach,
you're done.
go to bed.
You're done for the night.
You're done.
I started crying. Like the instant he said that, I literally like started crying, and I was just like, okay.
So yeah, we mean it when we say blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh,
Yeah, and I was about this close for Katie. I was waiting for that moment.
Yeah,
to be
we were
like,
waiting
"You're
for
done."
Katie to do that,
because
too.
there's a certain limit, to everyone, and you have to. This was a great example of, especially for like directing, understanding people's limits.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everyone was such a champ. The fact that they
yeah.
actually did this
Yeah,
and everything came out
literally,
and loving it was insane.
Every single person there like didn't complain. Like
Yeah.
they just did what they had to do.
Yeah.
Like seriously, best
But
crew ever.
you have to know people's limits. You have to know when is it you need to stop. You
Yeah.
know, and like
But like no, I remember after Colten told you you had to be done. I remember Colten came down and told that to me, and dude, you were just like, Colten was dead inside after telling Zach to do that.
Yeah.
And I so vividly remember just like looking at you and going, we still have a scene to do.
Yep.
We have to go. We
No.
gotta go.
JT literally was kind of like my second window a little bit, because it was just like, telling Zach like he needed to get sleep.
That's where my
And I was ready to go downstairs, and for you to be in the same boat.
No, yeah.
And I was ready for it to be like, all right, shit, it's either just me or we're done.
That was where insomnia came in clutch, dude.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, dude, all right, it's 4 a.m.
Yep.
We gotta go.
So yeah, that last scene you all just saw was the last scene we shot that night, which was Katie was on. She was
On fumes. And for those who don't know, Katie has a fear of the woods.
Yep.
And that was a very difficult. That was just so difficult. So many things. All right.
All right. So
This scene was definitely interesting. I remember like behind the scenes, we had like a car pulled up like out, like we had like the car with because that was our generator basically, and we had like our lights, and like meanwhile while we're shooting this, JT was over there with the circling crew. Like it was
This was stressful. I think
it was stressful.
this night.
Katie was having a lot of like fear of the dark and woods.
Yeah, this
on
was probably
night.
the worst night for Katie, I
Do
think.
you have a phone I could use?
In terms of like anxiety, and I
Yeah.
was pretty worried. And there was a lot of times where I pulled her aside. And I was like, hey.
Like you good. You're
Like,
vibing.
I pretty much told her. I think it was right after one of these shots, like maybe after here. I was like,
Oh.
you tell me when, enough is enough. Like you just
Yeah.
say like if
like,
you're
tell
done,
us when.
you're done. We're done.
Here's Nico coming in for the
Nico
second
part
time.
2. Dude, his
So-
his mouth here, like it is the prosthetics that they did was that Skylar did.
Yeah,
This
so we
was all
could
Skylar,
pause it
basically.
on Nico's face here
Yeah.
and kind of talk about the makeup.
So this is a really
There it
big deal, because we've done little makeup stuff before, but definitely not to this extent.
Yeah.
And I remember we were talking. We did a little teaser thing that we were kind of testing on makeup, and Katie came up to me afterwards, and she was like, because I used to use cornstarch for blood, just cornstarch, blood,
Sucks.
red and green dye. It sucks. And she came up to me. She's like, Colten. I'm like, yeah. She's like, we are not using
Cornstarch.
again.
Ever again.
Ever. And I was like, okay. And that's I literally after that conversation, I immediately started looking for makeup people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And luckily we had a lot of local contacts. It was Miles and I'm trying to remember. It's been so long.
Miles and Cariana.
Cariana and
Skylar.
Miles. Yeah, God. Miles and Cariana were troopers for this whole thing.
Yeah, and like I brought up Cariana to Colten because like I had known her through my sister, and I just knew her work from her. She's an amazing cosplayer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's done a lot of like horror-esque cosplay, and I'm like, dude, she would be perfect for
Yep.
this film if she wanted to, and I'm really glad she joined.
I'm pretty sure she was the first person I
yeah.
contacted, and she was just amazing.
But
and then,
this specific prosthetic was made by Skylar.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
right.
It turned out so well.
so good, so
It's-
good.
Yeah,
It's
with the
really
lighting
well
and
done.
everything, like the lantern was a perfect base
It's-
light for this shot.
Oh, that lantern!
The lantern
I
was a
can't even
pain.
talk
but like,
enough
I
about
hate
that
the lantern. We hate the
We
lantern.
hate the lantern,
It didn't
but
light
I
half the
love the
time.
lantern
because it was a real gas lantern,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
it was like falling apart while we were using
the lantern
it.
was a big deal because I was like, I knew it had to be gas. I knew that's what we wanted.
Yeah, because that
but,
was
like,
the only way to get exactly what we needed from it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the thing didn't light half the time.
Yeah, God, it was
Yeah.
such. Jaskar has the most pain from that lantern.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh man.
Yeah, this is Nico part 2.
Part
So
two.
take a shot, everybody. There I am. This is my first
Yeah.
cameo. That.
JT's in here.
Yeah.
God, this shot went through so many iterations.
Yeah, we did a
did.
lot
Well,
of
I mean,
editing of the shots.
No,
out
not
here.
even that. Like pre-production, Colten and I had gone over so many different ways of shooting this.
Yeah.
And it kind of ended up how we wanted it to, but like at the same time,
It definitely wasn't
We drew
perfect.
so many diagrams, it was hilarious.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Also, yeah, the candles turned out like I wish we lit the scene better, but like
Yeah.
overall,
No, the
it
torches
was
give a great light.
It was so cool.
Yeah, there's a lot. We had over, like,
How
I
did
think
those
over. We
candles
had, we
not
had
go
like
out?
over 100, 200 different
Donuts.
candles on set. Like, there's like so many different candles. Like
Yeah.
this scene alone.
I lit every single one of those candles by myself.
All right, this is probably one of my favorite like conversation scenes.
Oh, I mean, it was
Yeah.
definitely like the most heavily written for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Colten. I remember Colten telling me writing this scene. He literally sat in his room playing like cult music for
Yeah.
like 4 hours at like
Oh, can
2
we
in the
please
morning.
tell that story?
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh,
let's pause.
God.
Hold on.
Pause. And we'll talk about this scene.
So we'll talk about the scene in so we joined a Discord call.
We just called them. It was
Yeah.
it was the Hell Chat. The Hell Chat is our 3-person
Sorry.
group chat or
That's our-
4-person
yeah,
with Katie.
that's our group chat on Discord. But like, yeah, we called him and he turned on his camera and was like,
I don't think he didn't know he turned on his camera.
No, I did it first.
yeah.
Oh, okay. And you tried to turn
And then,
it off.
no, and then you like thought you left or something
I forgot. I like muted and deafened myself.
yeah.
while we were
and
talking.
I had because
then he
I
just went
closed the
back.
Discord, but I didn't know. So I muted deafened, and then I minimized Discord and
Yeah.
completely. I just spaced out about having the video on.
So we basically joined, and he was like, "Hi guys," and blah blah blah. It's like we talked for like 10 minutes, and then he like
Because I think
he
we
was
got,
like
we got
went,
distracted, I think.
yeah, and then he basically went back to his writing session. And he just turns on this chanting music and is sitting like in the far corner of his office.
room.
And like we were just JT and I are just sitting there for like an hour.
Just like, what
Just
is-
like what?
And he literally no.
What?
And then he just started screaming. No, like he literally like, grabbed his head and he's like, ah, he's like, it was like what? And we couldn't hear him. We just saw him.
yeah,
And it was like, bro, he
such a-
writes by immersing himself.
it's no. That was the first hand experience of someone really seeing. And then JT's of course joined me in the writing room, but like literally, this was a hard scene to shoot because like I've never.
He had to write the dialogue for Kai's character in this scene, which was
Yeah.
definitely difficult.
Because this you guys will see in you'll see in a sec, but his dialogue pretty much has to summarize
The
what
entire-
happens in the film,
Yeah.
right? But not be too
Like you have to be vague about it.
pretty vague about it, and also putting myself in a mindset of like this world and where I'm at without it being cliche was really hard because it's like I really had to try and immerse myself in Katie's shoes and then reverse it and then immerse myself in Kai's shoes and like go back and forth.
Yeah.
And so literally out in my room, I would be like, I would go sit in the corner as Katie and be like, uh-oh. And then I would go sit in the other corner and be like,
Yeah, we can talk about the rest of this while it's going because it is a quite long scene.
Yeah.
This is probably maybe my favorite scene.
The best acting scene,
No, for
probably in
sure.
the whole. I mean, there's a lot of good acting.
Yeah,
moments,
Kai
but I
did a
think-
really good
yeah,
job of
so
the voice.
Kai, I mean, God, like when we auditioned him, I was just shocked. I didn't expect like when I heard his audition, I was just shocked to hear his voice because it was so much different than because I know like we know
Like,
him.
we know him,
We've
yeah.
worked with him before, but I was like I just did not expect that to come out of him, and it was like he just really sold this character.
Yeah, he
in
did a
such an
really good
amazing
job
way.
of this character.
Yeah, I'll never forget getting Kai's audition for it. He sent me just over the phone.
Well, yeah, because I remember weren't we originally thinking of casting Kai for the boyfriend?
Yep.
Yeah,
And then we saw his audition for this, and we were like, wow.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, that's good.
That's it. And we did a ton of rehearsals
even
with him.
at some point we thought JT was going to be the boyfriend.
Oh yeah,
We
that's
did.
right. Yeah, sometimes
at one point I almost went to JT and casted him as this character.
I was
One point I was going to talk to you about it because Kai didn't audition yet.
Yeah, sometimes like me, Colton, and Zach understand each other on such a mental level that like sometimes if we don't have an actor, they'll just cast me and I'll just do what they say.
Oh, and I mean, dude, the other best part about this scene was so we were in my garage, and so Kai, it was like 2 a.m. I think when we shot this.
Yeah, it was like 2.
So
Yeah,
like
it was late.
Some people were gone. Some of us were like in the living room.
This is the last thing we had to do this night, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, it was because it was like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
No, and so Kai and Nico, so Nico was driving Kai home, and then like there was a point through the night where Kai got a phone call, from his dad, and it was like, come home. It was kind of like a oh shit moment.
Yeah.
And we're like, we got to get this done so he can go home. And so again, we had a time limit because Nico had to go at a certain time or something like that.
Yep.
And it was, I think the best part about that was, first of all, it was like the panic inducing nature of just like, oh shoot, this guy, we got to get him out of here. But also he left so fast. He had a bald cap on.
Yeah, he didn't take off his makeup.
He did not take off the bald cap. So like we were kind of, when he left, we were like all panicking, like it was us and like the makeup people, and they're like,
Can he get that off?
Kai didn't take off he didn't take off his bald cap. And they're like, how can he? Yeah, we didn't know if he could take it off or not. So like we don't, honestly, I still don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I want to hear that today. We're having a party.
Yeah,
cast party today.
I am gonna ask. I'm curious.
We're definitely gonna have to ask him. But yeah, no, the dialogue of the scene was really good. He did an amazing job. Like his sound, like the sounds and everything it turned out so well.
Yeah, he just did such a good job, and the entire scene. Katie really, it's crazy. Katie's almost in every shot, and like with how much that happened, Katie really.
Yeah, Katie's stamina was tested in this film.
All right,
and here comes
this is my bathroom.
His bathroom.
We ruined this bathroom.
We destroyed this bathroom. Because like there's a ton of tape, there's a ton of plastic
this
wrap.
scene alone took 2 hours just prep.
Yeah.
We didn't shoot a thing. Just
That was
2
longer
hours
than
of
that. It
setting
took a
up.
long
It was
time.
long.
It was long.
Yeah,
It was like first thing in the morning. We got here.
yeah. This was at like 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. Like it was like right around that time.
I'm gonna pause it here.
Yeah.
So first things first. Bathtub. She got dunked in I love one of the first things you told Katie when we were like still pitching this film was basically like, are you okay with being dumped in a tub of blood?
Yeah, that was
the first thing I said to Katie before we even mentioned story, child, anything.
This was our biggest issue with sets. Like when we had like other sets that we wanted to go to, and then they're like, you can't do this in the bathtub.
No,
We're like,
yeah,
"Shit."
That was
And so,
huge. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, because that's what we ended up doing in my bathroom. Because I looked at it one day and I was like, Colton, this isn't a bad bathroom to shoot in. Like it would work. And so like, and I went up to my parents because I because COVID, nobody's really at college right now, so I'm at home right now. And I asked my mom, I was like, yo, can we like blood up this bathroom? And like if we ruin it, I'll pay for it. And she was like, okay.
Yep.
So
because there were 3 other options that we were originally gonna have to pay for. It was the first time we were gonna have to pay for a location, and literally we were like in the final stages of one place.
no, because there was one place that had like this metal bathtub and it looked awesome.
It was awesome.
And
one place said yes, but just we couldn't. The timing just didn't work.
Yeah, the timing didn't work. But no, that place with the metal bathtub we were gonna do, and then somebody else got it.
So yeah, I don't know if it was that place or the second place. There was one place I was in the final stages of confirming, and then they asked, they're like, "So what are you trying to do in the bathroom?" And I was like, "Well," and I explained it as thoroughly as I could. And then about a day later, they were like, "Yeah, no."
I mean, fair. It's completely
enough,
fair.
fair enough.
Yeah,
Like,
and I was like, "Okay, yeah."
But yeah, this one was a struggle to like logistically put together.
Yeah, and
But God,
crazy
no.
scene.
So we did end up ruining this bathroom.
yeah.
We didn't realize half the tape that we put up. So we saran wrapped the entirety of that back room, like the entirety, like even the parts you can't see, because I wanted to make cleanup of the blood as easy as possible.
Brutal.
And so we ended up like having to tape all the saran wrap to the wall because that was just the easiest, fastest way to do it. And it looked like, you know, a bunch of random cult members could have put it up. But we ended up accidentally not using painter's tape for half of it. And so now
we used
to
like
this,
2 rolls of duct tape.
to this day, there are a bunch of missing paint spots from that bathroom.
You know what we should have done, now that I think about it? We literally should have gone to Home Depot and just got one of those big, you know, tarp mats.
I mean, dude, we could have used
So many
clear
things we should
shower
have done.
curtains.
Yeah, we could have done anything. And the fact that we decided to do saran wrap and
It was
like
awful.
awful.
I mean, it looked good.
No, it
looks
definitely on film
fine,
it looks
yeah.
great. Also lighting this
Yeah,
room.
the yellow LED strip we had back there.
No, yeah, it was like that. We had like the red light in the back. We also had like one of our big like softbox
Sitting on the
lights
counter
sitting on the
on the
counter,
left.
like in that
Yeah.
corner. We had one in JT's room going in. And then something else we should talk about, because this is something that goes across the whole film. We constructed our own dolly with
yeah.
tracks. So like basically we built like we had this piece of wood. We strapped some overpriced skateboard wheels.
We're not going to talk about that.
Oh,
That was
God.
a small oversight.
We strapped some overpriced skateboard wheels onto the bottom of it and had some PVC pipe, and we rolled it along. We basically rolled along that track. That thing worked great, and also was the bane of our entire existence
Yeah,
because it
also
didn't work
didn't
half
survive
the time.
the shoot.
Oh,
because since it was wet and rainy
It got
outside,
warped.
it warped.
But you can notice when we're doing like dollies in this scene, it's like it's super like there's like slowing up and it's speeding up and slowing down
Yep.
as you go along the track. Like it sold the effect, but there's so many minuscule little things that just like it was
And
so
it
hard.
really only we noticed. Every time I notice it, I'm like, it's such
Grr.
it's a little thing, but like this is the
was
first
so
time we ever
hard.
really used a dolly. It was honestly, the dolly was a huge thing for the project.
No,
I
and
remember
we
we
used
were
it a
like,
lot.
it
We
was
used
a
it a ton.
big deal to use a lot of push-ins. I think almost every other scene uses the dolly. We use that thing to
we
its
used it a ton.
Because that was the first time we had the ability to use a dolly. We'd never had one in the
Yep.
past.
It was also just the amount of equipment that we used. Like we had an entire room in my house dedicated to just
Oh my gosh.
all equipment. We had Pelican cases, we had the dolly, we had this China ball light, all the cameras.
I will never forget building that dolly and getting the 2 PVC pipes stuck together.
There's a really great BTS video. I hope maybe
you put it
maybe
in
I'll
there.
put
We're
it
gonna see
in
today. but
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Maybe I know, but maybe I'll put it in the clip of us yanking that
Yeah.
thing apart.
So funny.
Physics! I'm using physics! No, if we put our feet against each other, then we can more efficiently pull away. Okay, ready?
Science,
It's so
physics. What did I
funny.
say? I don't remember what I said. It was so
Oh,
funny.
it was so good. Anyway. Oh, and then
The
and then
hammer breaks.
The hammer breaks.
Breaks,
This
yeah.
was like the last shot. So we were trying to do this as a one take.
Yeah.
And then they basically when they dunked Nico, by the way, another Nico.
Yeah, another Nico.
So this was Nico part 3. The funny thing is about this shot is so it was supposed to be a one take. We were like, all right, we're gonna get ready for this one take. We did the first half a couple times, and then we did the one take.
No, because we did, and then in
we-
the first shot, they messed up before she got into the bathtub.
Yep.
Well, no, it was the fact of like we knew that the bathtub was basically like the make or break. If it
Yeah.
fails, then we can't do the next half,
Yeah.
or we can't do the beginning again. So we shot the beginning before the bathtub like 3 times. We shot the one take,
Yep.
and we're like, all right, we're ready. Go through the one take. And they slip as they come out of the bathtub,
Yeah,
and just
that's right.
both of
But
them
I
fall
think
over.
that
And we're
was
like, all right, it's fine.
super-
We'll-
That was that. I have a BTS.
had no
of,
plan.
I have a BTS of that happening.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
literally, the look that Katie gave me was
Yeah.
so sad.
That
We
was
had-
super
and, like,
smart though.
But
I
we
think,
had
that
like
did
no
that.
plan of like, okay, we just kind of had to wing it, and we're like, all right, we can still recover.
But what
this.
I'm saying is, even though we winged it, it was
No, it turned out great.
The way we
Wung
did,
it?
like
Wung it,
Wanged it?
wung it?
wanged it.
The way we did the scene, I think, was really smart in like shooting the first half and then
Definitely.
like taking that into consideration. Because honestly, I think if we were to do this a couple years ago,
Oh God.
we would have shot it just the way it was and not even thought about that and then been like, oh shit.
Because we had
Now
experience
what?
with one shots from Focus.
Oh, and Old Bird, like it was. Oh, actually, Old Bird wasn't a one
Old
shot.
Bird,
Sorry,
yeah, but-
We did another one shot at some point. Anyway,
But this is our third fight scene, which is crazy.
Yeah, no,
We've done a lot of
you
fight
can
scenes.
oh,
definitely-
and then also the hammer broke at the very
Yeah, the
end.
hammer broke.
Yeah.
That was funny.
So like
it's
it's
I doubt.
shots. You can
can see-
you can't in this but like basically if we continued the shot after she hits him, she just looks up at the camera and then goes back into it, or she looks up at Colten who's behind the camera and she's like, oh no.
Yeah, she's like, so much fear.
It's so funny.
Luckily you really don't notice
I
it.
love that scene just because I remember
My
when
favorite shot of
Yeah.
her panning back.
When I pitched it to Katie, I just was like, I really want that scene to be kind of a badass
Oh, yeah.
moment.
We can talk about the chants real fast.
God.
Just the sound design of the chants. Yeah.
we had on set like multiple recordings of everybody chanting, and we could just not get it to work. So we ended up dubbing all of it, and most of it is just me and Colten.
and me, and we also had
We have Shaq.
Yeah, we
one of
had
our
so
friends.
we got one of our friends that wasn't on set to do a recording because with just the guy voices it didn't sound right. So we needed more what's the word, diversity in the
yeah.
voices. And so yeah, we got Ginger, which was one of the original cult members who's
yeah,
in the
she's somewhere
film.
in there.
We got her to do a recording of the chants, and yeah, we had one of our friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't translate that chant. I literally just translated a bunch of Latin words that sounded
Oh, yeah.
okay. There was not a lot of effort put into what the actual chant was.
God. And then we go into the indoor shots, which this is where we were talking about before. So this is the scene that we were talking about, which was our oh yeah, you can
I'm
see
the candlelight.
the orange light. You can see it shimmering a bit. That's JT
That's
holding
me
a reflector.
standing at the bottom of the stairs.
It is
And, like-
crazy with how much was going on, how many little details like that we
Well,
really
dude, because there's so many people on set, we just
Yeah.
thought about things.
And because I specifically remember this, I was like, bro, there were candles downstairs. I have to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was the shot. This was the scene that we shot before going into that wood scene at 5 a.m.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this was it. Also, this is my room that we've like
Yep.
stripped apart.
That's right down the hall.
Yeah, it's right down there. We stripped apart this room. Also, there's still blood like spotted across around my house. Like there's a piece of blood on my carpet.
It wipes off pretty
No,
well from
it
what we did in the
didn't.
bathroom.
No, not that blood.
This was a crazy scene to shoot, honestly. This was like the verge
Oh,
of like
yeah.
everyone sort of starting to kind of
Yeah.
I mean,
This is
dude,
right
we had
before.
like, so I think, is that Nico on the bed?
Yep, that's Nico on the bed.
fell asleep
Nico.
during this.
Take a shot.
Yeah, he literally
Uh,
fell asleep. Yep.
Yeah, Nico's everywhere. So he fell asleep on the bed right there.
Yep.
There's someone behind Colten who I guess just literally sat there the whole
That
time.
was
And
James.
James.
That was James.
James sat there like behind
The
Colten
entire
the shot.
time.
The entire
Like,
time.
whole time.
Hey,
like
man,
the camera
continuity.
never was on him. For
But
the
he's on him in the beginning.
well, yeah, in the beginning.
And that's it.
So this shot right here actually wasn't in the original like
Wasn't.
Edit,
shot
yeah.
or edit.
Pause
Like,
real
yeah.
quick. This is actually really important because this is near the end of editing. Like we were pretty much wrapping up sound, and I was watching this scene again, and one of the things I felt was nothing.
Yeah.
I-
We were like, why do we care about this person?
Yeah, because you're like, it's such a short amount of time, so I don't expect everyone to, really attach themselves to the character wholeheartedly. But I was like, there needs to be something here. There needs to be some amount of connection to the characters so that at least throughout the latter half of the film, the climax of this film, you're with her to the end. You have to be with her to the end, right? So I was like, okay, what is something that I could put here that would add a connection? And it was the opening scene. I was like, duh. We have this entire opening scene of the song.
Yeah, we
that
shot
shot
so much footage of
so much
this.
footage of, and we never finished the song. I was like, oh, that would be great because that's right at this moment, the beginning juxtaposition of the first opening scene. You see her at this point, so you see her at this realization. So I realized that putting this ending of actually her finishing the song in this moment of happiness would really help sell and drive the point of not only the beginning but just the characters. So I added this right here, and I think it honestly improves the scene like so much.
So yeah, her messing up is real because I literally
yeah.
taught her how to play the song while we were on this scene.
on set.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, we just ended up leaving them all in because we're like,
Well,
you know,
like, the
it's
messing up
more
was cute.
natural.
It's more like
it's more
characteristic.
natural. It's more like, oh, she's just kind of being cute and like, I made this song for you.
Now we're at the beginning of the opening scene.
Oh, this is another cameo of mine.
Right. This is right where the opening scene ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now we're into.
It is crazy how much the film amps up from this moment.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this is probably my favorite. Like this is where
everything
I started
past
loving
this point
film.
is where I really enjoy this.
So
film,
here's JT's cameo. This is his feet.
yeah, my feet cameo.
His feet cameo. Yeah, this shot was also really good. I always like this one. But
I feel like the
that's-
sound for my feet were really well done. I don't know
Well,
if
yeah,
that was
it's just
me
the-
or like the
that-
on set.
That was so none of the sounds in this scene.
Do you Foley all this?
Everything here is Foley. So everything from here to the tunnel is Foley.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, to emphasize, even though I was a sound designer, me and Colton basically split
Yeah.
sound for this.
Like,
I
yeah.
basically did all of the first half, and he did most of the second
Yeah,
half.
pretty much. May I mention? So the biggest film we had done up until this point of sound was Focus.
Yeah.
So this was
Big
kind
jump.
of us saying we're gonna take what we did in like Focus and really just like amplify it to 11. And I can guarantee you this is everything we hoped
Yeah,
it would be
and-
in terms of like sound.
And it's
just
like we're not
quality
professionally
increasing.
trained
No,
at all in
not
sound.
at all.
Like everything is self-taught. So like this is us just playing with stuff and figuring it out.
And just learning from our mistakes of
Yeah,
our past films.
exactly.
Well, I
Focus was
remember-
2 years ago almost now.
Yeah. No, I
So-
remember when we sat down to talk about this film, one of the key element is like, as we're reading the script, was like, honestly, the only way this film's going to work
Is
is
if
if
sound is good.
design.
Yep.
Because everything's
And
through
watching the edit was like, okay, like I remember when we first watched the edit and it's like, okay, this is pretty good, but we all still like were like, this film's kind of shit.
Yeah, I
Like,
was
We were all
terrified.
like, it's gonna be better with music and in
Yeah,
and sound.
When we watched it the first time,
Yeah, without sound.
I shit myself.
We
I
all
was
shit
like,
ourselves.
Oh my god,
Terrified.
this,
We were
what
like,
did we
oh
do?
god.
because I was like, oh my god, this is terrible.
is terrible.
This is bad. Like honestly, the film didn't become remotely good to me like until I sat and watched the entire thing with sound.
My turning point was when I made Nico's noise when he turns around with the lamp.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when I watched that with that fucking weird ass, like, by the way, that sound, like the clicking that you hear, I literally looked at Colton and Zach and I was like, yo, get on the mics and like bite down
Yeah,
a bunch of
Start
times.
chattering your teeth.
And I literally like,
yeah.
it's if you
So
look
much
at if you
Foley.
look at the timeline, it's literally like 8 of those overlaid
Yep.
over each other with like pitch changes and
So cool.
distortions.
I mean, the timeline on this film was insane. Like it's 60 tracks of audio. Like it is crazy how
Yeah.
like
yeah,
'cause-
it's like 64 or something. Like, it's
yeah,
like
something
67.
crazy like that.
Yeah.
It's huge. Like we did a ton of, and to be fair,
Here, maybe we can like show them the timeline.
Maybe,
like, it's
yeah.
right here.
no, but to be fair, it's like we're still learning off of ourselves. So like there's a lot of things that I learned from this that definitely next time we would do things way differently in
Don't
terms of
work in
organizing.
B-raw.
Well, B-raw's one problem, but also like split your film into smaller sequences instead of working on the entire
Yeah.
thing in one, especially if it's longer than like 10 minutes. Like this film's 25 minutes, almost 26 minutes long.
And like the computer that is a very good
Like-
computer is struggling so hard.
Yeah, B-raw plus like having all of your footage just kind of dumped into one project all at the same time.
I mean, how big
Like-
is this project? Like 900 gigabytes?
Yeah, this project's probably around 800.
So is this our biggest one?
This
No.
Hillflower
It's not.
was.
I think Hillflower is because
Hillflower's
Hillflower.
still
So
biggest.
this Canon RAW that we shot with is way more uncompressed. I think
Got
if I
it.
remember correctly, because we did like 5-1 or something on this film or 3-1,
That's right.
which
That's right.
honestly we shouldn't have done. We should have shot with a way less compression because this is going on YouTube.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it didn't really matter.
didn't
Anyway,
matter.
we'll
All right,
keep
let's
going.
continue.
This
Yeah.
scene is really cool with the sounds.
So yeah, Colton did this part first, and then I went over and detailed a bunch of stuff
Right.
in this.
And we had Jaskar come in and he just screamed a bunch.
Yeah,
into the
I remember this
microphone.
because Jaskar was like kind of nervous about doing the voice acting, and I remember I was like trying to train him up to it.
We had to vocal coach him a bit. It was good.
Yeah, this took me the longest to do the
hit.
sound design for. This took me. I thought this was going to take me because most things were taking me probably an hour or two. This took me an entire night of like a 6-hour session developing the sound.
And then we got
because-
Nico coming up again.
Nico part
Nico.
4?
Part 6?
Part
I thought it was part
five?
5 or 6.
Oh right, yeah, I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Take a
Take a
shot.
shot.
Pause right here.
I
want
love
to talk about
that
this real
match
quick.
cut,
So
yeah.
that's we're gonna get into the match cuts soon here enough, but to talk about that sound design real quick, it was really hard because there was a very specific sound I wanted that literally, there was nothing on the internet being like how to create a sound of a voice that sounds like it's in a creature's stomach.
Yeah.
Like how do you create that, right? And even now, it's not, you don't necessarily get the idea it was in a creature's stomach, but I wanted to have this echoey chamber that wasn't just, it was this distorted voice as if it was coming out of something else, something unworldly, and you just don't know what it is. And so I was in audition for hours, just playing around different types of, reverbs and sounds, and it was a really cool experience, like actually developing that sound. And right before we get into the next scene, this was the first match cut. Of the entire thing.
I think personally the match cuts in this film are
tasty.
My favorite.
Like this is the best job we've ever done at match cuts.
They fit so well into the story, and just kind of like going into like her sort of like teleporting and just all this weird stuff. And it's like this, like her, like this. So this is like the woods that's up past my house. Like this is all still on
we had to
property.
hike. I hiked this
Coolest,
in flip-flops.
I think the coolest set piece.
We had like 10 or like 8 people hike this with like we carried a generator up here, and like the camera and all of this equipment and the lights. We had all these people hike up with this stuff.
Carrying that generator up there sucked.
It was awful. And this was also the part of the film where Matthew Ward joined us on set for a bit, and this was a really kind of cool experience because this was the first time where he really saw us actually work on a film.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Matthew Ward is a VFX artist who's very, very
renowned in the film industry.
Yeah, he's worked on a lot of things. I think right now he's currently the cinematic director for cutscenes for Destiny 2.
Destiny 2, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's an amazing filmmaker. And it's incredible because he's been kind of Colten's and also
honestly all of our mentors
mentor since Home or World Alone
6-7 years ago.
Yeah, and he's been such an amazing resource, and we owe a lot to him, and so it was really cool to kind of have him join us on set for this bit, just to kind of see how we work, and it was a cool experience.
Really cool. Yeah, as you guys will probably know that if you've seen all of our other work, match cuts are kind of a thing that we do a lot. And I think it's funny because it's like that's kind of one thing I love to write is match cuts, and this was a big stepping stone of really pushing that.
Oh, and so here's the next bit of like a little tidbit fun facts.
This is our cameos.
So all of these pictures are Polaroids with all of us. So like that's Nico.
That's James.
That's Colten with his SCAD shirt.
That's Nico. Nico, take a shot.
Nico again. There's Nico. Here's
Zach.
me. And then here's
me.
JT.
Yep. So that's our first, I think, official cameo, like in the film.
Yeah, like our faces. Cool. Yep. Here's our second match cut, which isn't as noticeable, but it's still very cool in terms of like she stands up out of frame. She then teleports basically to this tunnel.
This shot's nice.
This is
my favorite shot in the film.
This is a cool shot.
This is probably one of my favorite scenes. Yeah. Just from the tension of it and everything.
God, it was raining here too. Yeah. I remember all of these.
We were all
outside
hiding in this tunnel, which it was covered.
Again,
but
this is November. Cold. This is November in Washington State. Like it's cold as hell in all of the outside scenes.
This is the last day, so we're getting to the end of it, and honestly, it looks like I love that this is the ending.
Also, keeping all these people's candles lit was the worst.
God, that was terrible.
It was such a painful experience.
Remember the gas? Well, the gas lantern was trying to die on us.
The gas lantern was dying. All of these people's candles, because it was breezy. Like it was really like there was some wind going through the tunnel.
So I'm trying to remember. I made the creature sounds for this, but you put them into the place, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what happened? Okay,
that's right. I like manipulated them a little bit, but like barely anything. I mainly just like turn them down or turn them up.
Yeah. Did a little mixing.
And the thing is with this creature is we never really ended up showing them. Because it was just kind of a...
This is kind of an important element. You can pause right here for a second.
Let's pause.
Match cut 3. So basically, this is a really crucial element. This entire story is really actually an adaptation. A very small adaptation of a book from HP Lovecraft. It's a short story called The Festival. I've read that story before making it. I've read a lot of HP Lovecraft work.
Yeah, me and Colten are big HP Lovecraft fans.
Big fans of that work and everything there in that world. And the story here is not too similar to The Festival in extent of characters or even to some extent the setting. But it is centered around a festival. It's both centered around the festival. And the big element was the idea of the unknown and this bird-like creature. That was a big deal. And one of the things that fascinated me about the story was that you never see it, or they never visually describe it in the book. It's only described as once they saw this flying creature, they went insane. And that is all I wanted to distribute here, was this idea that there's this creature throughout the film that you hear in the background, that as soon as she, hits, basically it's the implications that they hit the creature.
Yeah.
And as soon as they hit that creature, they're now in this world. And so, you hear this creature building up to the point where, maybe on first viewing you don't hear it, but in second viewing, you'll hear it. And that when you get to that tunnel scene, you'll be like, oh, crap. That's what I've been hearing the entire film.
Yeah, exactly. Because we had like 2 or 3 cues before then.
Mm-hmm. And so, again, the whole idea behind it is you never see it. And that's the point. You really are supposed to develop an image in your mind of what she's seeing. That's why there's that huge close-up of her eyes to really show that what she is seeing is,
not normal.
Not normal. And honestly, you're not really supposed to perceive it. And what I love about Lovecraft, stories, and that's really what I wanted to do right here. Was,
no, for sure. I mean, that was like the general concept, is like we wanted to try cosmic horror. Like we don't really feel like you. Personally, I don't feel like you see that hardly at all in film. Like I feel like something like The Lighthouse would be like the closest thing to it in recent memory.
For sure. And that was a huge thing. Was really just having the audience perceive these creatures their own way.
So here's the pinnacle of the makeup.
Yeah,
in
pinnacle
this film.
of makeup here.
Like this, they killed it. So this was the work of, I think, both Miles and Cariana.
Yeah, Miles and Cariana
right?
tag teamed this, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Also,
Skylar's-
her face, blood as hell.
Yeah.
I love all the close-ups on her.
I love how it starts growing. Like the blood starts there's just more and more as it goes along.
Well,
I do wish we got more on her like neck area.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But I love that we took advantage of we show off the makeup of the film. Like we show off their work. That was a big thing, is like really like showing the details of what they did, and having those close-ups.
Yeah, this really flexes Katie's acting chops too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, literally the makeup here looks so good. With that backlight and everything, like
it was.
Yeah, we had a light outside pointing at that window.
Yeah, it was a single light.
Yeah.
Back to the stupid car music.
Yeah.
I only noticed whenever I started messing with the music in this scene when I was doing detail and mixing, that it talks about a girl in red hair, and I was like, oh my god, it's literally Katie. I didn't even notice that at
I
all.
don't know that either.
There is a ton. We didn't really talk about a whole lot, but there's a ton of callbacks in the film. There's a ton.
Oh, for sure.
From the music to dialogue that's said to the black goop.
The black goop.
There's a ton of callbacks.
Oh yeah, I mean, this room is the same room that you saw when she entered the house for the first time.
Yep, different
and
angles
it's now empty. Also,
there's Nico again.
Nico's in the foreground right there.
Take a shot.
No, yeah, but this is the same room where you saw like the table and everything in the very beginning, and that's now gone into like this new different world. The barn's still there, but you never saw the barn before, so it kind of makes me sad.
That would have been.
This was
cool.
such a good scene. It was really funny because we had to be like, hey, people who are sleeping in the house, she's gonna scream.
Yeah,
this was like 12 o'clock.
It was like 1 in the morning or something.
This one specifically was at 12.
My favorite moment for Katie. Yeah, such a cool moment.
Snap. Jaskar falling. What a
took
trooper.
that fall.
Took that
Dude,
fall.
He was blind and he just
because so pause it for a second. Literally, okay, so Jaskar in that makeup was actually like he was blind. He couldn't see. Because the makeup was over his eyes on prosthetics. So for
he was blind for about 4 hours.
The 4 hours that we were shooting this,
so he was also because we shot the tunnel scene, like the cult tunnel scene before this.
Yeah.
And so he was in the makeup chair that whole scene.
Yeah, he was.
And then basically he was just here with our makeup artist, and they were like trying to take care of him because
he couldn't do anything. Like they fed him, like they were feeding him. I remember that. He literally, we shot that shot like more than 5 times.
Yeah, no.
And he just dropped
every
like
time,
a potato every single time.
Took that fall every single time.
Yeah, shout out to Aster Jaskar, man. I hope your brain is okay.
Yeah.
So this is the hands too. We didn't even talk about those. The hands for Nico's Golden King character.
Yeah. So Colten did a bunch of like he did the hands.
I did the hands and I did the tentacle.
And the tentacle.
And that was
he tried to do the robe and then
I didn't
Skylar ripped that one out of his hands.
Skylar and Julia both worked on it.
Skylar and Julia, that's right.
They were doing that like on set,
fixing that thing for me. And like literally but I spent a lot of hours working on these effects, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was just
First
cool
time.
yeah, exactly. The first time we ever done something like that.
Yeah,
I definitely think the hands were the best that came out of this. I think the
Definitely.
tentacle. So this is Colton's cameo. He's controlling this tentacle right now.
Oh my god,
me.
the amount of times we shot this because Katie could not
laughed.
help herself from laughing. Because like from her perspective, it's just Colton with this squiggly
It's like a hand puppet.
So
like going
funny.
at him. That was really funny.
Yeah,
It
that was
was
one thing I
really
wanted
good.
to kind of try out and hint at, even though we didn't have the budget. Really, was doing practical. It's a big thing to me, is doing more and more practical effects as we go on, especially if we're doing something like this. Of course, looked at work like The Thing, you know, like from John Carpenter, and you know, their use of practical effects, and that was a big influence here. Even though it wasn't, you know, of course, nearly to that scale at all. It is a hint of, I think, you know, the future of what's to come.
But yeah, this is what match cut number 4 coming up.
Match cut number 4.
But yeah, this was definitely a really funny scene.
I like the
for all
music
of
choice
us.
that you found here. Colton's usually the one making the music.
Oh yeah,
music
I guess we can
choices.
just talk real quickly about music. We wanted to get a composer, like this film. We were super excited to possibly get a composer to actually
Yeah.
write music for this
Because
film.
it would have been perfect.
It would have been such a good good film for it. But we ended up we contacted so many people,
lot of
and a lot of them were either
and-
busy or just never
Well, I just want to
responded.
reiterate, people watching, there was a lot of offers. Here's the thing with composing is something that's good to note for me is, you know, I'm very picky with music.
Yes,
Music
and this
is
film
very
is
important.
especially, it's very hard to.
It's very hard. Like, music
Alright.
really made the film good or bad. You know, when I'm looking for music, especially a composer, you know, before I even, you know, contact them to do a film, I really need their work.
No, for sure.
And I'm listening to your work, and if you don't have any work, or your work is different from
It's like
what
we
we're
can't
looking
take
for,
that risk.
I can't take
Yeah.
that risk, and I don't want to make you an offer for something that I have no idea if you're going to
Definitely think that's a good message as well for like people who are aspiring to do that kind of stuff.
You need work.
I mean,
even if you're not
just-
like making
yeah,
it for anybody
literally,
specifically, make work for yourself.
It's the fact of like when we say you need work, it's not like, oh, you need to, you know, oh, how am I going to do that if I don't have work?
Yeah.
Literally just find things to do. Like, for example, makeup artist, cosplay. Like cosplaying and just doing makeup on yourself
Yeah,
is
'cause that was how we got Kariana and
yeah.
Miles.
That's
I mean, that's how I knew Kariana. I knew her from her TikToks and
Yeah.
from her Instagram, and she like has all of that work there. And obviously she's had past experience, but people without past experience just kind of like making music by yourself, making music, maybe even like, for example, back on music, if you want to become like a someone who scores films, take some other film
and score it.
and write a
That's
score for a scene.
huge, yeah.
Like there's so many different ways to make your own
Huge.
work, and that is super important for like when
Yep.
people don't want to see that you have a degree in, you know, for sound scoring.
I mean, let's
from
be real.
movie
Nobody,
scoring.
nobody cares about degrees.
No, like for example, when we're looking at things, like we don't care. Like obviously we're like younger and we don't like we're not looking at a huge like a huge group of people who all are applying.
Yeah.
But it's still the same idea of like we really care about like what's your resume and like does your work does your work really kind of like suit with what we're looking for, because we don't know if like you have the style that we want and stuff like that.
So yeah, really quick, just touching on the music here. This music is from 3 different artists actually that I found on YouTube. All very talented people.
All should be credited in the movie
yeah,
if I
all
want to go check
talented.
them
So
out.
you have a guy named Monster Music. I cannot pronounce for the life of me one of their names, but used a lot of music, and you'll see in the credits their name is there.
Yep.
And the other person was Ross Bugden, who's actually Ross Bugden is someone who I've used his music in a lot of the projects. His music is great. Tried contacting him to compose, never contacted me back.
No, for sure.
So Ross, if you're out there,
Great music, man.
Thank you for
great
your
music.
music.
If you ever like want to do composing, you're please. Literally, I don't care what it is. Any project next time, if you're available, you're hired.
Match cut number. This is the end scene.
Yeah.
And
Here rolls up Nico.
Here's
And
Nico.
Final Nico.
Final Nico.
Take a shot.
Everyone admire his run here.
Yes.
It's our favorite.
His waddle.
It's my favorite gif that will ever come out of this film is just him running.
We should just like do like a zoomed like shaky
Yeah.
cam of him running up.
So, yeah, again, you know, talking about the process of writing and coming up with ideas for films, a lot of the films I come up with, really, there's a hodgepodge of scenes and moments in my head that I really want. This was a big one to me, is pulling someone right in the middle of a very traumatic moment, you know, and then just throwing them back into reality.
Yeah.
That was huge. And like, I really wanted to demonstrate that in this moment of like, the whole film has been dark, pitch dark. And you're like literally in this, you know, everything's just super somber. And all of a sudden they are now thrown in the middle of a street in a suburban neighborhood with some random people, right? Middle of the day. It's completely, you know, throws not only you off guard, but them off guard. And so if you were in that situation, you know, the best way I can describe, you know, Katie here is she is like not only traumatized, but like it's almost like the way I like to think about it is like a little kid going on a roller coaster for the first time, right? And imagine you're not told what the roller coaster is going to be like, right? You know, as a little kid, you get on that roller coaster, it goes fast, and you go down, and you cry. Literally, it's really like, holy shit, you didn't tell me that I was going to be like going down 50 feet and going on a loop. I literally thought I was going to die. And then all of a sudden the roller coaster just stops and I'm alive. That's what this moment's like. It is like going on a roller coaster.
Bro, when the roller coaster kills you, man.
And not being told what a roller coaster is, right? And you're just like, holy shit, I was about to die. What? That's kind of what this moment is.
Yeah. Also, fun fact: this is the only time we get remotely close to Colten's house during shoot.
That's fair.
Like,
don't look at road signs; they're not there.
Nope.
Yep. And yeah.
Yeah, this is right behind Colten's
right
house,
behind.
which is funny because that's where we last shot the last horror film that we ever did, which was Take Me. That's
that
him.
was the first time I ever worked in this film group.
Yep.
And there is a couple references to very subtle references to Take Me. I like doing little subtle things in cinematography between each film.
Well, yeah, that was like with Hillflower. You used the same shot of that bedroom.
Little things here and there, like reaction shots and kind of similar moments to kind of nod to past work. I like doing that, especially in a short film format, just to show the improvement.
It shows character and context.
Yeah.
100%. Also, back to the scene real quick. The other thing I would like to bring up is how we made that falling shot of like her falling to the ground. So basically what we had done, and this was pain, by the way.
You did this so much.
So basically we had it on the dolly. We had the tripod on the dolly, and we had to dolly forward and then tip the front legs of the camera over onto the ground while the dolly. So basically we had like three people
and like Katie, we
helping
had to hold Katie's hands,
helping Katie stay up in that like kind of half fallen position, and then like
I forgot about that.
Yep.
Helping her falling back.
And it had to be timed. It had to be framed right.
So it was both the framing. It was like three of us basically holding, like two people holding her hands as she went down. Someone holding the camera as it went down. Someone holding the legs of the camera to make sure it stays to the bottom. Someone like putting their foot on the wheels of the dolly to make sure it didn't slide backwards or slide forwards. It was the most complicated shot.
Like, me and I think it was Skylar most of the time were like holding Katie's arms off the frame. Yeah. And then we had to like lay her down, but like then drop her at the last second so she could look like she fell over.
Yeah, and then we had to bring the camera back up, because it was the same shot, right?
Yeah.
So we brought the camera back up, then dollied backwards, and then panned. This shot is like the smallest shot, but like it is insanely complicated.
Yeah, this took us a lot of thinking.
Yeah, and there's a lot of shots like that where it's literally just one shot, like the bathroom fight scene, one shot really, and like.
But
we really it's all we try to make it as complicated as possible.
Yeah,
dude, I was gonna say like this film was the first film where I felt like we actually had like a decently professional like running set.
Oh yeah,
like with the 20 people that we had, like especially from like an assistant director's perspective, where like I was managing the people and telling them what to do when you couldn't. It was very much 100%. like a perspective bring, and like honestly, like I feel like it was very very big, like a lot of growth from us.
It really was, and that's why at the very beginning I noted that this is our last project in Seattle, and I think it's really important because like this is such a big, I think, staple for us going forward into further projects, because it really was our first project with such a big set, and having it be very professional.
Especially during COVID.
Huge. Yeah.
Like we had to communicate like, yo, I know some of us are like good friends, but like we can't cut corners.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's basically the end of the film. Unless you guys want to go over the credits real quick of just kind of.
I don't think so. I mean,
yeah, go watch the film.
Yeah, I mean,
watch the film. I mean, I think really the only thing.
I mean, hopefully anybody here is already watched it, so we don't
Yeah.
spoil everything for you.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna have also other podcast episodes out in the future where we talk more about the film, maybe go more in depth about certain things. And of course, if you guys have questions, go into the comment section of both the YouTube video or of the film or of this or
tweet at us, yeah,
anything like that. And if you have any questions about the film or things like that, we'll either answer down there or honestly we'll find some format to answer your guys' questions because we love hearing them. But I think the last thing is, again, really special thanks to Nuke and Empower Video Productions for being the executive producer for the film.
Yeah,
really wouldn't be possible without him.
I mean, huge thanks to
Literally everybody.
like everyone on
literally
our
everybody.
set. I mean,
Yep,
God,
everyone
so
on
like
set.
our whole crew, everyone worked their asses off and did an amazing job.
All of the extras for
Extras.
like literally
Insane.
like all of the cult members, you guys are the best. Like I
Great
literally had
energy.
to like make that chant and like tell them all what the chant was, teach them through the chant.
Yep.
Like they all felt crazy when we were like running through like
was-
the circle, doing the circle. I remember I was because like Colten had to go do something else. So it was literally just me out there just like, okay,
Yeah.
we gotta figure this out, guys.
Huge, literally such champs, and literally just pulled through.
I mean, yeah, God, they're amazing. I mean, huge props to like our makeup crew. Huge props to Stefan, our sound guy.
amazing work.
God, the other people on crew. I mean, also, yeah. So Empower Video Productions, also Matthew Ward for coming and just helping us out.
Yeah,
And
doing
just
the
kind
VFX.
of, he
Yeah,
did the
VFX.
and so any of the VFX.
Stefan, the man, the myth, the legend.
Stefan gets 2 shout outs today.
Yeah, seriously.
Dude,
Honestly,
shout-outs.
though, it's
Literally, amazing bring him on because like usually one of us does.
Oh yeah,
does sound.
I'm usually always the sound guy.
The
So it's
sound.
like it was very much like one of those territorial things where I'm like, I need to step off and just do solely video, and like camera operation and cinematography. And it was like, okay, we need to find someone who really knows what they're doing, who's not just like we're not just handing them a microphone.
Exactly.
And this was honestly one of the first films that like we really heavily used the on sound.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
Oh,
them we
yeah.
usually scrap them, but like we actually used a lot of onset sound. Like obviously some
And it
parts
was-
we couldn't, but
it was honestly so nice to just be able to trust somebody with the sound and not
like,
have to
he
worry
was,
about
he
it.
was always
Oh
on
my
it.
god,
he was
there were
always
so many
ready.
times. Even when we did Foley, there's so many times where I used sound clips from other pieces of
No, we
things that he
used
picked
so
up
much.
and reusing and the
and
sound design.
he never complained. He did
Honestly,
like that.
but
man.
every single person on that set was all like was
Amazing.
super resilient,
them,
which
yeah, you're right.
is really weird for me because like I'm used to really kind of worrying about everyone on set and being like,
Yeah.
we're like these are all high schoolers who just kind of like want to be a part of it but don't really know what they're getting into.
No, for facts.
A lot of these people didn't know what they were getting into and were loving it. Like they
Yeah.
were so high energy the whole time.
What I think is kind of crazy is like when we put up the first notice that we were doing another film, it was the first time really that people were like, "Holy shit, you guys are doing another film!" Like, and
It's
I
like
think
people
what's-
were excited to like
People were
come work
excited,
with us.
yeah.
excited, and I think that's kind of a thing to know is we've done a really good job of setting a precedent of our work.
Yeah.
And like not only our work, but what our work's like on set with the people that we've worked with. So I just think that's an accomplishment, and the fact that again, this was a hell set. This is probably the
Yeah.
hardest one we've been on.
Huge
And,
shout out to my
Zach's
family,
family.
Yeah,
who
huge
had to
shout out.
deal because we were here till
were
like 5 a.m. We
whole
had like
weekend.
I think 5 or 6 people sleeping here.
Yep.
Yeah, me and Colten took the RV. I watched Colten fall down the RV stairs. And
Jaskar took the bathtub.
Yeah, Jaskar took the bath.
Oh my god.
No, we don't talk about that. That's
Oh
for
my
a later
God.
time. But
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll do another episode, kind of going into more details.
I
Maybe
think we
even
will.
answering more questions that we didn't get to this time. But
For those who get confused, when we say Asher or Jaskar, they're the same
They are the
person.
They're the same person.
Yeah.
We met him originally online as Jaskar
Yep.
and later learned his name was Asher, so we say both very fluidly.
yes.
All right. Well, I think the camera just died, so I think we're gonna end this. We're gonna end this.
Yes, it did. That's
fine.
okay.
So in these last moments, thank you guys for tuning to this commentary for the film. Go watch the film, promote the film. Tell us what you guys think of it, whether
Yeah,
you love
please,
it, you
like
hate it.
honestly,
We'll read every
critique us.
comment.
Critique it,
I'm really
Please
excited.
critique us.
Please
We
critique.
love it. Like,
We
don't
want
feel
it.
mean. Like, we want it all.
Yep.
Give it to us.
100%.
Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys' time and
Yeah.
we'll,
Also, just as a quick side note, do we have a movie recommendation for
Oh
this
my
time?
we should. Oh, can I? Wait. Hold on. This is a hard one.
What's your movie
What's your
recommendation
movie
for everyone?
recommendation?
Just
The
go
Truman
with it.
Show.
The Truman Show?
You told me about
I
that
want to watch Truman
recently.
Show with you guys because it's such a big movie for me in filmmaking. That's what I would like
Okay.
to watch next time.
I'm down. All right.
If you haven't seen Blade Runner 2049, like the new one, really good. I watched it recently.
Oh God.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that is it.
That's it. All right. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next time.
Bye.